नित्यानन्देश्वर समारम्भाम् नित्यानन्देश्वरि मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। इस समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित सभी दर्शकों और भक्तों का मैं प्रेम एवं आशीर्वाद सहित स्वागत करता हूँ। I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Srimahans, Mahants, Tanedas, Kotaris, sitting with us through Nityananda TV, Sadhana TV, and two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha. Cities sitting with us in two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha. St. Louis, New Ballas, St. Louis, Tirumala, San Jose, Madurai, Nityananda University, Los Angeles, Nityananda University, Paris, Singapore, Singapuram, Tiruvanmiyur, Chennai, Nityananda Nagara, Bididi, Nityananda Nagaramut, Hyderabad, Nityananda Nagar, Tiruvannamalai, Charlotte, Srisailam, San Jose, Madurai, St. Louis, Tirumala, Ohio, Prayag, Oklahoma, Somanatham, Seattle, Chidambaram, Hong Kong, Sirgari, Dakota Dunes, Tune Moon, Hong Kong, High Pine, North Carolina, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, Phillip Island, Australia, Indrani, New Jersey, Dubai, Vaidyanatham, Rajapalayam, Dhyanapitham, Grasse, France, Jnaneshwar, Nepal, Toronto, Kailasam, Jorpati, Nepal, Port Washington, New York, Johns Creek, Georgia, USA, Hyderabad, Gupta Kashi, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, Dakota Dunes, Hong Kong, Sirgari. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. First thing I want to tell you today is Meenakshi's divine marriage with Mahadeva. Mahadeva comes down as Sundareshwara, and today we are going to have a beautiful marriage ceremony for Lord Sundareshwara and Meenakshi. Let's bow down to the divine bride and bridegroom. Bididi is also observing and celebrating the Meenakshi Sundareshwara's marriage in a grand scale, and today is Mahadeva's marriage anniversary. Next important announcement. Tomorrow, during the morning satsang, I will be conducting a special global event, Life Bliss Meditation, Nitya Dhyan, short, simple, joyful meditation to create instant joy and complete completion in you. Today I am pregnant with a strong message. What makes an enlightened beings enlightened beings? The DNA of enlightenment. Please understand. I am not disrespecting any enlightened beings, but when I present the whole thing to all of you, I have to do a postmortem and I have to present the stark reality as it is to you. I have done the postmortem of at least 25 great enlightened beings, really enlightened beings. At least 25 I have done a conscious postmortem, not the stupid psychoanalysis. No. Conscious. What makes them what they are? Because Krishna says, by understanding me, you become me. By understanding the space I am in, you be liberated. In Gita, very clearly Krishna says, by understanding what I am, you be liberated. So, understanding the DNA, please listen, understanding the DNA, listen, understanding what makes enlightened beings and enlightened beings, what makes an Advaiti Advaiti, understanding the DNA will simply make you centralize all your energy, concentrate all your energy. I tell you, sometimes you are constantly made to believe enlightenment is difficult. Sometimes constantly you are made to believe enlightenment is easy. I am breaking both the myths. It is neither easy nor difficult. It is. Listen. It is difficult if you are putting your efforts, attention in too many directions. It is easy if you just centralize you on the right direction. Because your innate intelligence has enough energy to make you enlightened immediately. Just you need to know the direction in which you have to put your energy and concentrate. Even the word concentration is too superficial word. Create your awareness in that space. Let me give you these examples that will liberate you, that will make you understand more deeper. Listen. I was doing postmortem on Sri Ramakrishna, one of the greatest enlightened beings. If you do postmortem on me, you will not find anything other than Ramakrishna. End of the day, I am just an English speaking Ramakrishna. Of course, Ramakrishna's devotees, I don't want them to be hurt in any way. I am not claiming his status. State, you don't have a right, it's mine. Maybe in status you have a right. In state, you have no right. It's mine and I have a right to claim. Only if I claim the status, you can go to the court saying our religious sentiments are hurt. State, you don't even know. So I have all the right. And if you know, come on, let's debate. I am ready for it. Listen, when I was doing postmortem of Sri Ramakrishna, what makes him what he is? He's not a great orator, a village man who talks literally the slang of the village Brahmin, cuts all kinds of cheap jokes, dirty jokes. Even in the dirty jokes, Osho will have a different standard. But if you see the dirty jokes of Ramakrishna, it will be too dirty and too cheap. Died in cancer just like anyone at the age of 50. You don't find anything special. How much ever you try to attribute all special qualities. But please understand, I am not disrespecting him. Still, he is my Aradhya Devata. I worship him every day. I am just trying to make all of you understand. Then what makes him what he is? I did postmortem on J. Krishnamurti. I did postmortem on Osho. Don't even believe U.G. Krishnamurti is enlightened. He is stupid. If you want to become mad, loose, depressed, follow U.G. Krishnamurti. I don't want to classify U.G. Krishnamurti in the enlightened beings, so I don't want to talk about him. The statements I made is enough. I went on doing postmortem on some of the great saints of South India, from South, the great Nayanmars. I did postmortem on Tirunjana Sambandar. I did postmortem on some of the great Nayanmars, Yeripattar, Adipattar. You may not know their stories. One person is a child murderer. Just because a Shiva devotee came and asked, I wanted a human flesh, the flesh of a child, he cut his own child and served him. That person who came did not eat because Mahadeva himself came to test. That is different. But what I am saying, kind of an act they were ready to do or getting into, in the modern day you will define them as fanatics or lunatics. I went through all their structure. What constitutes them? What is their DNA? 10th chapter, 3rd sloka, Sri Krishna beautifully says, Yomam ajamanadim cha vettiloga maheshwaram asam mudaha samartyeshu sarvapapaihi pramuchyate. Jnanatma has picked up the sloka beautifully. I'll repeat the meaning. I'll give the translation. He who knows me as unborn and beginningless, as the great Lord of the worlds, he among mortals is undeluded, he is liberated from all sins. If you know me, you are liberated. How can it be? Because when you know the depth of Krishna, after the postmortem, you will know what constitutes him. What is his DNA? Then you will also concentrate exactly on that DNA, you will become enlightened. See, whatever you think as ultimate, automatically your energy will flow into it. So the first, see, like which road you choose, you will reach that goal. So the first decision about what is purpose of your life and what for you want to live, helping you to make that decision is a very important decision. That is why today I am explaining that DNA. Please understand, finally I am going to come to my DNA also. I don't think today itself I will be able to come there. I will take next few days of satsang and explain the DNA of enlightened beings. I wanted to make this very clear. All the devotees, disciples, followers of all these masters, I am making it very clear, I am not disrespecting any one of them. I have great reverence for all of them. And don't try to tell I am hurting your religious sentiments. If I claim their status only, your religious sentiments can be hurt. I am not claiming their status. Only in status you are involved. In state you have no right. It's my zone. You can't take me to court for claiming state. You can't prove it in any court, I don't have that state. And it is out of the purview, out of the zone which can be discussed, debated in the court. So that I can explain exactly what makes them. There is one great saint. He just goes and kills the royal elephant because that elephant has smelled the flowers which he was carrying for Mahadeva. Animal killer, a child murderer. But please understand, both of them are enlightened beings. When they did this act, they were already enlightened. What constitutes, what makes somebody enlightened? What is the DNA of Advaita? I did postmortem on me also. There is one more verse, Krishna says the same thing. Chapter 4th, 9th verse. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. He who thus knows in true light my divine birth and action, after having abandoned the body is not born again, he comes to me, O Arjuna. Same meaning in different verses Bhagavan claims. I think in 8 verses Bhagavan expresses this idea in various parts of Bhagavad Gita, various chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So the more and more references come out, I will read out to you. Totally in 8 places he gives this kind of this statement of this meaning means, if you know my DNA, you will become what I am. If you know what I am, you will become what I am. Even Vivekananda is not a great orator. Please understand. I have a high regard, high respect, reverence. Every day I worship them. But when I am doing the postmortem, I have to tell you, unless you know the DNA, you will not know where to concentrate. Because if you continuously concentrate on just dressing up like Vivekananda and trying to become an orator like Vivekananda, after 50 years you will feel cheated. You might have become an orator like Vivekananda, not become Vivekananda. So the direction in which your energy needs to be put, I am responsible for it. That is why I insist on doing postmortem on all these enlightened beings and understand. I'm quite clear. If you do postmortem on me, I did and saw already. What I am speaking, I am not peak in it. There are greater orators, intellectuals, professors who can do my job of speaking 1,000 times better than me. Same way writing. I am not peak of it. There are tons of writers who does the job 1,000 times better than me. If you remove each component, there are people who are doing tons of ways better than what I am doing. Then what makes me what I am? I was looking into Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Eribattar, Adhibattar, Jnana Sambandar, Osho, J. Krishnamurti, Anand Mahima. I was doing postmortem on all wide range of masters from Shankara to the recent, as recent as J. Krishnamurti, including my most beloved. If I say the word father, I remember only Ramana Maharshi. He holds the place of father for me. Ramakrishna is more like an in-laws place for me. Ramana Maharshi is the father. I have done postmortem on all of them. Actually, first I was little hesitant. If I talk about this and some of these devotees' sentiments are hurt, unnecessarily these guys will be. Then I don't want to get into the controversy. I don't want to get into fight with them. Then finally I decided, then who will tell the truths to my devotees? I am not interested in hurting your sentiment, but at one point I have to tell the whole thing to my devotees. So I decided, they have right only over the status, not the state. State is universal. Anyone can claim. I claim I achieved the state of Ramakrishna, and I put my throne and sat on it, and whatever came, right or wrong, good or bad, I am facing it. So you also, if you want, put your throne and sit and claim and face, come on. And after all, I need more and more enlightened beings. I tell you, even if you claim falsely, start claiming falsely, the peer pressure, the way you have to maintain, you will simply become that. Nothing can be done. Because the amount of sacrifice you need to do, I have raised the standard, understand? I raised the whole standard bar now. Even though I don't want to say I am the last prophet, but I can say I have raised the standard so much, the next guys who are coming after me will have a real tough fight, tough standard. The standard they need to maintain will be really, really difficult. Anyhow. But I was looking into this whole thing. What makes them what they are? Please understand, I am very open. and I am very clear. Whatever I am speaking with integrity and authenticity I am speaking. This throne doesn't constitute me. There are many sadhus who are bigger, fully made of gold. This is not gold. This is copper, I am telling you. And even my words, there are people who will speak more fluently. Understand, after doing the conscious postmortem of the enlightened beings happened in last 2000 years, I did not do postmortem on everyone, please understand. Around 25, I can say. I spent time on that, the data available about them, and by feeding that, downloading the cosmic archives available about them. 2-3 points I got little really worked up. I have to tell you the truth. But those things I completely avoided. Because when I fed all the information I have about Rama and tried to get the cosmic archives, like I just fed some few information. Rama who built the Ram Setu, Rama who killed Ravana, Rama who married to Sita, Rama who was served by Hanuman, Rama was born in Ayodhya. All this information, whatever I know, I fed, and I wanted to get more details about Rama. 4 Ramas appeared. I could not do anything. No, that kind of things, I just kept it completely away. But now what I am sharing with you all, for every statement I am responsible. I am talking every statement with integrity and authenticity. Listen. Because if you understand what makes Krishna as Krishna, what makes Shankara as Shankara, what makes Ramakrishna as Ramakrishna, it is not yogic body. See, the number of great beings died in cancer. Ramakrishna, Raman Maharshi, my own direct predecessor, Ram Surat Kumar, is a great enlightened being. It's not yogic body. What is that? That is the DNA of enlightened beings. After drilling, analyzing with the data amounts to almost 100,000 pages. Please understand, the data with which I did this research, if I put a whole thing in writing, it will come more than 100,000 pages. I am not saying about the data which I completely kept it aside. There was too much of confusion, I could not come to any conclusion. For Rama, I was totally shaken. Then I don't know which Rama married Sita and which Rama had Hanuman as the servant, which Rama built the Ram Setu, and this will become an unnecessary headache. I didn't want to look into it. I just wanted to have an answer for myself. Then what happened? Then they say that every yuga when it repeats, a Rama happened. So the same Rama only did everything. Same Rama only is born, same Rama only married Sita, same Rama only built the bridge, and same Rama only killed Ravana. But they say every yuga, those incarnations happen. Then I had another question. Then are they doing the same thing? The answer was more or less. It is not exactly. The rough structure is same. Only at that time the people's need how they respond to that and help them to realize Advaita state. Only there that smriti changes. Otherwise, the lifestyle is more or less the same. That's too vast subject. Anyhow, now I am not going to get into that because lot of questions I have to answer that if I open that subject. But now I wanted to, before the satsang end, I wanted to reveal this important secret. Listen, I have already built. What is it that makes the DNA? Please understand, I am putting it in a very simple way. After all this research, the truth which was revealed to me was, what is it that constitutes an enlightened being as enlightened being? The DNA. Please understand the one line, simple line, decision to be big. Please get it? Decision to be big. Decision to be bigger than anything you know. Decision to be bigger than anything you know will end only in Advaita space. I put it in a very colloquial way. Decision to be bigger than anything you know. If I have to put it in a more precise, sophisticated way, see, the word I gave you is the exact word I received in that research as a prasada. So if you start cherishing in your DNA, in your bioenergy, in your biomemory, this one idea, anything I know, I will become bigger than that. Please understand, this is not from the mood of violence, arrogance, war, all that. Don't decide to wage war with anything you know, no. By waging war, anything you know, you destroy that, but you don't become bigger than that. Understand? By making anything you know as smaller than you, you don't become bigger than that. You need to know that. By making anything you know as smaller than you, you don't become bigger than that. So Alexander can never become great. Napoleon can never be great. Understand? I put it in a very colloquial term. If I have to put it in more precise, refined term, authenticity. Whatever you know as you should stand with this one idea, whatever I know, I'll become bigger than that. Not by making that smaller, but by raising me higher. I know it is like a Zen cone. You may have to go and sit with it and contemplate and all that. There's some more work to be done on it. You can't just... I'll have to take one or two more satsangs to make you understand. Because the moment you understand what constitutes enlightenment, you can concentrate on that. You don't have to waste your time on anything else. More and more authentic you become, more and more bigger you become. More and more complete you become, more and more bigger you become. If you do postmortem on me, whatever you find as great, if you find as my speaking ability, there are tons of people who are greater speakers than me. If you find my devotion, there are tons of people who are greater devotees than me. If you find the size of the organization, there are tons of people who have 100 times bigger organization than me. If you find this great sannyas sampradaya, there are at least 25 sannyas orders who are 20 times larger than us. Nothing of this constitutes me and my DNA, understand? I tell you, nothing of this makes me what I am. Money, I am too poor compared to other Hindu gurus. I am only able to run the organization. There are Hindu gurus sitting on tons. And just last year, 83,000 crore Christian NGOs brought inside India. 83,000 crore. It's a public information available in the internet. Go and see. So there are bigger organizations. Listen, neither money nor my intellectual abilities, even if you see my healing power, there are tons of great healers. That doesn't constitute me. That is not my DNA. I tell you some of the secrets. When people come and give me money, I really try to show my gratitude that they are supporting this Sangha. But I could never match the way I show my gratitude to people when they come and say, Swamiji, in our place we gathered 25 people and taught them completion. The way I flow towards them, if you see from a normal angle, teaching completion to 25 people, what do we gain? Okay, good work. But somehow, the way my heart flows towards them and the way I respond to them, because I feel that is exactly what for I am alive. If some few hundred people are initiated into authenticity, the way I flow towards that person, feel towards that person, because that is exactly the reason for which I feel I exist. No, I do respect the people who bring money and offer, because their whole time and effort and energy they put, that they are offering. It's not a joke. Money is not a joke, because they get that by putting so much of their time, attention. No doubt. But I am telling you how my constitution functions. So I went on drilling. If we can find what makes Shankara Shankara, Buddha as Buddha, Ramanuja as Ramanuja, Ramakrishna as Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi as Ramana Maharshi, we can just concentrate on that direction and get enlightened. We don't have to waste time, energy in multiple directions or wrong directions. I tell you, finally, the end result, in a more precise, practical way, how to do it form. Please understand now what I said. That one word, decision to be bigger than anything you know. How that decision started expressing in those masters' DNAs, how that decision was becoming reality in them. If you know, you can also start living in the same direction. Because I'll be more happy if I am sitting among thousands of enlightened beings. I don't want to die with these unenlightened disciples. No. I want to live with enlightened disciples. It is such a joy to live with enlightened disciples. Ramakrishna says, beautiful story. In Bengal there is a belief that anybody dies on Tuesday will become ghost. And there is an exemption also. If you pour little Ganga water in the mouth of the person who is about to die, he will not become ghost and he will be released. So there was a ghost who died on Tuesday. Nobody poured Ganga water on him. He became ghost. And he goes round, goes round, goes round, goes round. He waits. Whenever somebody dies on Tuesday, he will run there to see whether he got a friend. But somebody would have poured a Ganga water and chanted Govinda, Govinda. Or something they would have done, this fellow will be released. He will not be a ghost. So that ghost went on searching for a friend. But he was all alone. Ramakrishna says, he is exactly like him, like that ghost. I go around and search everywhere, whether this fellow will become enlightened, that fellow will become enlightened. But suddenly, the parents getting married, or he falls in love, or his attention is diverted into some job, his energy is diverted into some money, his energy is diverted into some job, something. He says, no, I am not saying, please understand, I am not saying marriage is wrong, money is wrong, job is wrong and all that, but I am telling exactly what Ramakrishna is, his story. And finally, he says, like that ghost, I am going and seeing everywhere, but I am all alone. I don't want to be alone, and I will not die alone. Before that, I will surely make at least $1 million. Whenever I said big numbers, everyone suspected, but I did it, na? Always I delivered. When I say million sadhus, again people had doubt. I am going to do it. I will deliver. See, wait and watch. See, always the world takes that stand only towards the great masters. Wait and watch. So you also take that stand, wait and watch. I'll do it and show. At least million enlightened beings have to be created. Only then the living stream of enlightenment will be kept alive on the planet Earth. What constitutes an enlightened DNA? How it can be practically developed? See, this is the seed. Becoming bigger than whatever is known. I already clarified this point. By war you will not achieve it. By making things smaller than what you are not going to become bigger than what they are. So war is outruled. No war. Then what is the way? What is the way this DNA can be developed? And what is the way it can become a practical experience in us? I bless you all. Let you all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching and causing eternal bliss. Nityananda. Thank you.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nityananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.